Okay, so you're probably not going to believe this story, but I swear on my grandmother's grave, it's true. Every word of it. I work the night shift at this little gas station called Murphy's Gas and Go. Yeah, I know. Glamorous life, right? But hey, pays the bills and keeps me in energy drinks. Been doing it for about 8 months now, and let me tell you, you see some weird stuff when the rest of the world's asleep. But this was different. So picture this. It's a Tuesday night, maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm doing inventory, which is basically the most boring part of my job, when I hear the door chime. It's exactly 3:47 a.m., and I only remember that because I was literally staring at the clock waiting for my shift to end. In walks this little old Asian lady, maybe 70s, wearing this floral dress that looked like it came straight out of the 1970s. Very neat, very proper, the kind of grandma who probably has hard candy in her purse and tells you to eat more vegetables. She walks straight to aisle 3, that's where we keep the party supplies. Not exactly our best-selling section, if you know what I mean. I mean, who's throwing parties at a gas station, right? Anyway, she grabs a pack of birthday candles, just regular ones, nothing fancy. Then she picks up one of those cheap blue lighters, comes to the counter, puts down exact change, $3.74, and just waits. Now, I'm a friendly guy, especially at that hour when you're desperate for human interaction. So I go, "Big celebration planned?" She looks at me with these dark eyes, and I swear it felt like she was looking right through me. For a second, I thought she was going to say something. Her mouth opened a little, but then nothing. Just nods once, takes her bag, and walks out into the night. And here's the weird part. No car. She just disappears into the darkness. I watched her walk toward Maple Street, where all the old houses are. I figured, okay, weird, but whatever. Night shift, am I right? You get used to strange customers. But then she came back the next night. Same exact time, 3:47 on the dot. Same items, same exact change, same silent treatment. I didn't even try to make conversation that time. At the end of the week, I'm thinking, okay, this is officially weird. Who needs birthday candles every single night? Maybe she runs a daycare or something? Lots of birthdays to keep track of. My manager, Dave, great guy. Looks like he's been through 3 divorces and a midlife crisis. He notices I'm ordering extra party supplies. He goes, "Planning a birthday bash, Jimmy?" I tell him, just got a regular customer. Comes in every night for candles. Every night? And he gets this look, Must be running some kind of daycare. That's a lot of birthdays. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But something about it didn't sit right with me. 3 weeks this goes on. 21 nights of the same routine. Same time, same items, same creepy silent transaction. I started calling her the candle lady in my head. Until last night. Now, last night, she was late. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but when you work nights, you start to depend on these little routines. They're like anchors, They keep you sane when you're existing in this weird bubble between yesterday and tomorrow. So I'm watching the clock. 3:52, 3:55, and I'm actually getting nervous, which is ridiculous, right? What am I, her appointment secretary? Finally, at 3:58, the door chime goes off. But it's not the candle lady. It's this kid, maybe 16, 17 tops. Looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. You know that look? Dark circles, messy hair, clothes that scream, "I've been wearing these for 3 days straight." He walks right up to my counter and goes, "You seen her yet tonight?" "Seen who?" "The candle lady. Mrs. Chen. My grandmother." Boom! Suddenly, everything clicks. The eyes were the same, dark and intense. This was her grandson. But he looked scared. Not teenage drama scared, but genuinely terrified. So I tell him, "She usually comes in around this time, but she's running late."
He laughs, but there's no humor in it. None at all. Late, right. Runs his hand through his hair. Kid's got nervous energy pouring off him. Look, when she comes in tonight, can you just not sell to her? Tell her you're out of stock. Tell her the register is broken. I don't care what you tell her. Now I'm really curious. Why would I do that? And this kid, man, his whole face just crumbles. Because she's not supposed to be out alone anymore. The doctor said she has episodes, gets confused about when she is, who she is. He tells me sometimes she thinks it's 1964 and she's getting ready for her wedding. Sometimes she thinks she's his dead grandfather and asks him to take her dancing. I felt bad for him, but I'm thinking, look, your grandma seems fine to me, knows what she wants, pays the right amount, doesn't cause any trouble. So I tell him that, and he gets this look, this haunted look. What does she need with birthday candles every single night, he asks me. Good question. I figured she was buying them for other people, or maybe she ran some kind of business. She's buying them for herself, he says. And the way he said it, like he was trying to convince himself it wasn't true. When's her birthday? I ask. He won't look at me, just stares at the floor and whispers, 3 weeks ago. Right then, the light above Register 2 starts flickering. Once, twice, then goes out completely. And in that patch of darkness, I swear I see something outside. A small figure in a floral dress, standing just beyond our lights. The kid sees it too, because he goes pale. She's been celebrating the same birthday for 3 weeks, he tells me. Every night, she gets all dressed up, sets up this huge party in her living room, table for 12 people even though she's all alone, bakes a fresh cake, lights every candle, makes a wish, blows them out. I'm thinking, okay, that's sad, but not exactly dangerous, right? But then he says the thing that made my blood turn cold. She's celebrating getting younger. Before I can ask what that means, the door chime rings. The kid whispers, "Too late." Mrs. Chen walks in, but she's different. Instead of those careful old lady steps, she's almost bouncing, like a teenager who just got asked to prom, Same floral dress, but now she's wearing plastic pearls and bright red lipstick that's been applied, let's say, enthusiastically. And she's humming Happy Birthday, but it's wrong somehow, like she's singing it backwards or something. Here's where it gets really weird. In her hand, she's not holding money. She's holding burned birthday candles. Dozens of them, all melted down to little stubs. They're clicking together like little wind chimes as she walks. The grandson, Jake I think his name was, he sees this and just starts crying. Not sobbing or anything, just tears running down his face. Mrs. Chen looks up and sees him. "Tommy," she says, in this high, girlish voice, "what are you doing here? You should be home in bed." "It's Jake, Grandma. Tommy was my dad, and I'm 22. She blinks a couple of times, and for a second she looks confused. Then this calculating look comes over her face. "Of course, Jake. My mistake." She walks to my counter and starts placing these burned candles on it, one by one. Her fingertips are black with soot, and I can see little burn marks on her palms. The lipstick is smeared beyond her lip line, making her mouth look wrong. The plastic pearls are obviously from a kid's costume box. And her eyes? Her eyes were too bright, feverish bright, like someone with a dangerous obsession. "I need more candles," she announces, still humming. 21 of them. I'm 21 today. I count the burned ones on my counter. Exactly 21. "Mrs. Chen," I say carefully, "these look like they've been used already." "Of course they have. You have to burn them to make the wish work, but 1 wish per day. Can't be greedy. She pulls out exact change, but some of the coins are sticky with candle wax. Against my better judgment, I ask, "What wish?" She leans forward, like she's telling me a secret, and I smell something sweet and wrong. Birthday cake mixed with smoke and something organic. "To be young again," she whispers. 21, forever. Perfect age, don't you think? Old enough to do anything? Young enough that nothing hurts yet? Jake steps forward with his hands out like he's approaching a wild animal. "Grandma, you need to come home. It's late and you're confused." Confused? Her laugh sounds like breaking glass. "I've never been more clear about anything. Do you know what it's like to watch your body fall apart? To feel your mind getting foggy? To know every day brings you closer to nothing?" She spins around, too graceful for someone her age, and faces him. "But I found a way around all that. Every night I light 21 candles and make the same wish. Every morning, I'm 1 day younger." "That's not how aging works, Grandma." "Isn't it?" She gestures to herself. 3 weeks ago, I could barely climb stairs. Tonight, I walked 3 miles, and I'm not even winded. You know what? Looking at her, I had to admit she seemed more present, more alive than she had 3 weeks ago. I reached for my phone to call someone, anybody who might know what to do. But her hand shoots out faster than any 73-year-old should move. Ice-cold fingers grab my wrist. "Don't," she says, and her voice drops to this whisper that somehow carries perfectly. "It's rude to interrupt someone's birthday wish." She lets go and turns back to the candles, arranging them in a perfect circle. Despite being burned down to nubs, they're all exactly the same height. Exactly. "Grandma, please," Jake is crying openly now. "You're scaring me. Mrs. Patterson called because you were singing happy birthday at 3 in the morning with all your lights on." "Mrs. Patterson is 94 and jealous," she says without looking up. "She wishes she'd thought of this first." Out comes that blue lighter. Flick. The flame dances in the fluorescent light, casting shadows that seem to move on their own. "Stop," Jake says. "Whatever you think you're doing, it's not real. You can't wish yourself young. That's not how the world works." She pauses with the lighter halfway to the first candle. "You don't know how the world works. You're 22. When I was 22, I thought I knew everything too. But time doesn't wait for you to be ready. One day you wake up 40, then 50, then 70, and you realize you spent your whole life waiting for your real life to begin." More candles lighting. With each flame, the store seems to get dimmer. "I'm not making that mistake again. Every night at 3:47, I make the same wish. Every morning, I'm 1 day younger." Something occurs to me. "Show me your driver's license." They both stare at me. "If you're getting younger, your license should show that, right? The photo, the birth year." Her hand flies to her purse, clutching it like it contains her life. "I don't carry ID anymore. Don't need to drive when you can walk anywhere." "Grandma," Jake says gently, "you never learned to drive. Grandpa said you were too nervous." "That's not... I remember driving. A little blue Volkswagen. I drove it to work at the department store." "You worked at home as a seamstress. Brendan's department store closed in 1987. "No!" She shakes her head violently, Hairpins scatter. No, I was 21 and I worked downtown and I had a blue car and I was going to marry Richard. Grandpa's name was Robert. She's lit 20 candles now. The store feels different. Shadows deeper, air thicker, and there's this smell like old perfume and faded photographs. You're trying to confuse me, she says, but her voice wavers. Make me forget who I really am. I'm trying to help you remember who you actually are. Margaret Chen, 73, 247 Maple Street, married to Robert for 48 years, 2 kids, 4 grandchildren. Her hands are shaking as she raises the lighter to the final candle. That's not my life, she whispers. That's some old woman's life. I'm 21. I have my whole future ahead of me. Make a wish, Grandma, Jake says softly, but make it for who you really are. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and I think she's going to blow out the candles. Instead, she whispers, I wish. Every light in the store goes out at once. In the darkness, I hear Jake gasp. I hear 21 candles getting snuffed out by some impossible wind. And I hear Mrs. Chen's voice, but different now. Smaller, older, fragile. And something else, like pages turning, or years falling away. The emergency lights kick in, everything bathed in red. Mrs. Chen is still there, but she's changed again. The lipstick is smeared down her chin. The pearls are broken, scattered across the floor. Her dress hangs loose, like she's gotten smaller inside it. Her eyes have lost that fever brightness. Now they just look confused and scared. "Where am I?" she asks, and her voice is completely different, shaky, uncertain. Jake moves toward her slowly. "You're at the gas station, Grandma. Do you remember coming here?" She looks at the candles, at the lighter in her hand. No. Why would I have these? Whose birthday is it?" "Nobody's. Not tonight." I turn on my phone's flashlight. In the extra light, I can see her clearly. Whatever had taken hold of her is gone. She looks exactly like what she is, a confused, elderly woman, wondering how she got here. "Jake, what are you doing here so late?" "I came looking for you. You left the house again." "I did? I don't remember. I was watching TV, wasn't I? That cooking show." Jake looks over her head. "You've been coming here every night for 3 weeks, buying candles. Do you remember?" She concentrates hard, like trying to catch a dream. Candles. There was something about candles. A dream? I was young again? There was a party. She shakes her head. It's gone. She looks at the candles in confusion. Why would I need so many candles? I clear my throat. "Mrs. Chen, what day is it?" "Thursday? Maybe Friday?" Time gets mixed up when you're old. "It's Thursday morning," Jake tells her. "Oh." Her face falls with that specific fear of realizing your mind can't be trusted. "The medication. Dr. Williams said it might cause confusion." She sets the candles down carefully. "I should go home." Jake drives her home, but before they leave, something happens that still gives me chills. Mrs. Chen's driver's license falls out of her purse. I pick it up to give it back, but the photo stops me cold. The woman in the picture Looks like Mrs. Chen, but younger. Not dramatically, just less weathered. Hair darker, face fuller, eyes brighter, like it was taken 5 years ago. But according to the date, it was issued yesterday.
I looked up to call Jake back, but they were gone. Through the window, I could see them in the parking lot. Jake's arm around his grandmother, both lit by the first hints of dawn. The regular lights came back on. I cleaned up the broken pearls, threw away the candles, and tried to scrub the scorch marks off my counter. 21 perfect circles burned deep into the laminate. That counter was pristine when my shift started. When Dave came in for the morning shift, I didn't mention any of it. Some stories are too weird for daylight. But here's the thing that keeps me up during my sleeping hours. I think Mrs. Chen's birthday wishes were working, and I think something was granting them. The question is, what did it want in return? Every night since, when 3:47 approaches, I watch that door. Not for the confused old woman who needs medication adjustments and her grandson's care, but for the other Mrs. Chen. The desperate one who was willing to wish herself out of existence to be young again. Because that something, whatever granted her wishes, it's still out there, waiting for the next person who stumbles into Murphy's Gas and Go at 3:47 a.m. with exact change and impossible dreams. I've got 7 more months on this night shift. And time, well, time moves differently in the dark hours. Sometimes it moves backward. Thanks for listening to another story from the night shift. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more where this came from. And hey, if you work nights yourself, maybe you'll recognize some of these characters. Sweet dreams, if you can manage them.